Hello and welcome to NPS Now, your source for news and information about Norfolk Public Schools. I'm your host, Karen Tanner, and with me today is Bob Kleinbell. He is the Senior Director for Transportation, and we're going to learn all about transportation for this school year. So welcome to NPS Now.
Well, thank you for having me.
Great. For those who are watching us for the first time, which I don't think so, but they're going to learn a lot about transportation today. So tell us a little bit about your department. How many buses do we have, and approximately how many miles do they travel every year?
Okay. Well, the transportation department has 350 employees. Of course, that's our bus drivers, our bus attendants, and our technicians that work on the school buses, as well as our office staff. But we run about 200 buses daily, taking students to and from school. And we operate about a little over 2 million miles a year in the district.
That's a lot. So how many students are we transporting on a daily basis?
We transport around 10,500 students daily.
Wow. So how can parents find out when and where their child will be picked up the first day of school?
Okay. A couple of means. Of course, each of the schools will have their bus routes and that information available at the schools, but parents can also go to the NPS website and under the For Parents section, or even under the For Students section, there's a link to find your bus stop. And if they click on that and follow the instructions that are on that page, they could look up their bus stop information.
So what if a parent is like, oh, my child's bus is late, what do I do? So who do they contact?
Okay. Well, of course, they got to realize probably the first few days of school, things will be hectic, and bus drivers, may be delayed somewhat. But if they are concerned about when the bus is coming, they could call our dispatch office, and that number was 892-3320, and listen for the prompt for the dispatch office. And if they contact them, they can try to assist them the best way they can.
I'm glad you shared that number, because a lot of parents are concerned or wondering if the bus is late or just where their students are. And I understand we have a new GPS tracking system that's going to be starting at some point this school year. So once it's operational, how can parents find out where their child's bus is?
Okay. Well, the GPS system that we will be using, there is a parent application that parents will be able to download either from Google Store or from the Apple Store. And as we get close to rolling that application out, more information will be forthcoming as to how to access that. But essentially, it will give the parents the capability to go online and track their student's bus. And of course, they will need to know their student ID number to be able to do that. But again, as we get close to that rollout time, more information will be forthcoming.
So what do you hope this GPS tracking system will be able to do for the school district and for your department?
Okay. Well, one of the benefits it will give us is that we'll be able to track our school buses. We can go online and actually see where the bus is at any particular time. We can also do a historical analysis and see where the bus was at what time it was at a particular location. And this will give us the capability to verify that buses actually were at the stops whenever it should have been, because one of the things that it will send us a signal is whenever the bus stops and actually the entrance door is opened, we will get a signal when that occurs. So we'll be able to verify, actual pickup times. And it'll also give us the ability, in case of an emergency that occurs or a mechanical breakdown, if we need to send another bus, we can quickly locate a bus that's in close proximity, and then we'll be able to redirect that bus to, to that location.
Yeah, I want to reiterate something that you did just bring up about the student ID. Kind of explain that. Not anyone can find out where a bus is. So explain that process.
Well, it's going to be, as part of our security system, that parents will have to track it by their student ID number, which they should know their student ID number because they use it in many applications, but it's going to be tied to the student ID number. So anyone cannot just go on and locate, where a child will be located.
Yeah. And that's a good safety feature for parents. And then also, what other safety features do our buses currently have or will have?
Okay. Well, of course, the school bus is, and many times has been noted as being the safest form of ground transportation for public school students. They have many safety features on them. Of course, the warning lights that are on the school bus. Also, the buses have, stop arms that are activated when pupil stop is being made. There's also a crossing arm to direct children away from, immediately in front of the bus, so that the bus driver can have visibility on the students if they need to cross the street, to get to the bus. So those are some of the safety features, and school buses are, again, built to be, some of the safest vehicles on the road today.
And some of our buses have cameras on them.
Yes, we also have video cameras on all our buses as well, so that's another feature.
So give me some helpful tips about how students can be safe both when they're waiting for the bus and when they're actually on the bus.
Okay, and actually in the student handbook there's a list of safety features and things that pupils should do and don't do at bus stops. So that's another reference just to go in and reiterate that. But basic things, first of all, we encourage parents, especially with younger children, to accompany them to the bus stop.
Yeah.
At least the first few days anyway, so the child will get to know the route, from home to the bus stop. And also, if they need to cross any streets or whatever, the proper way to do that. And also when they're at the bus stop, of course, don't play in the street, be mindful of people's property, if they have lawn ornaments and flower beds and things, be respectful of the owners there, and, pretty much stay right at the bus stop. And when the bus approaches, don't rush out to the street to get on the bus. Wait till the bus comes to a complete stop and the door is open before they attempt to enter the bus. That it's just, keeping safety in mind. And same way in the afternoons when childs are returned to their stops, take time, wait till the bus comes to a complete stop before you get up out of your seat. And then when you exit the bus, if you need to cross in front of the bus, again, that cross arm is there to kind of direct you, away from the immediate front of the bus, so the driver could keep visibility on you. And if for some reason you do need to cross the street, follow the bus driver's direction. They should signal to you, when it's safe to cross the street, so you can come to the bus.
Yep, because I was going to say, I'm sure the bus drivers and the schools remind the students about safety and how to get on the bus, how to exit the bus.
Correct.
Yeah, so we have some of the highest paid bus drivers here in the area. I think we're the highest, correct?
Last year we were the highest paid in the area for our contracted bus drivers. Right, the current rate is $14.44 an hour.
And we're currently looking for bus drivers. So what are some of the qualifications for a bus driver?
Okay, we're always looking for bus drivers. We can always use more, but basically we're looking for an individual. They have to be at least 21 years of age, and of course we're looking for people with good driving records. Your DMV record, we prefer you to have a -4 or better on your driving record. Of course, you cannot have any reckless driving convictions or DUI convictions, things like that. Must pass the background check, of course, and then if they're interested in doing that, they could go to the NPS website, and under the careers, there's a means to actually do an online application.
Yeah, what kind of training do they need to have?
Okay, well, the bus drivers that will receive in-house training, it's mandatory that they go through 24 hours of classroom training, and this is they get some of the basic driving skills, as well as whatever they'll need to go past the DMV examination, because to get a Class B commercial driver's license with a passenger and a school bus endorsement. So that in-house training will provide them with the means to be able to pass those tests. And then once they have their learning permit, then they're required to do another 24 hours behind the wheel training. And then 10 of those hours must be with actual students on board, and they go out with a trainer and actually do a run with students on board. So they learn student management as part of their training as well, and also how to make a proper school bus stop and pick up and those sort of things. So we provide the training. If they're interested in that, again, I would encourage them to go to the NPS website, and under the careers, do an online application, and we can get them started in the process.
Yeah.
And even if they can't do a full day or something, if they're just looking maybe some part-time, we can always use some part-time drivers, and again, you know, if they want to give us mornings or afternoons or certain days of the week, we'll be more than glad to try to accommodate their needs as well.
Right. Well, I'm sure it's great perks to be a Norfolk Public Schools bus driver, and I thank you. But I just want to ask you real quick, where can parents find information again about their child's bus stop and all of that good information?
Well, again, two means that they could contact their child's school, and they'll have that information, bus route information. But also, probably the best means is to go to the NPS website, and again, under the for parents or the for students, there is a link to find your school bus stop. And that's probably the best means to get that information. And if all else fails, or if they're still having difficulty, they can call, you know, the transportation office, again, 892-3320.
Great. Some great things here to happen for transportation. So thank you for coming on the show to share that information with our parents and the community today.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you. And we want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now.
Welcome back to NPS Now. I'm Steve Sutmiller, Senior Coordinator of Athletics. Today in the studio we have Matt Hatfield to talk a little bit about the kickoff of the 2019 football season, and we're here for fall sports. So Matt, welcome. You've been here before, so just give us a little brief background of what you do around the area.
Yes, delighted to be back, Steve. I do a lot of work for VirginiaPreps.com. It's the Virginia High School sports site on the Rivals Network, powered by Yahoo Sports. Do some shows on ESPN Radio 94.1 a weeknight and on the weekend. And you can follow me on Twitter at Hatfield Sports. We put out updates throughout the whole year when it comes to high school sports.
Okay, and a lot of people follow you because I follow you, so I find out what's going on Friday night. So let's get into this into the Eastern District. Talk a little bit about all 5 teams. Eastern District football has really risen to one of the top districts in the area recently. So, and I think we can continue that. So we're going to go right into Granby High School and talk about Granby.
Yeah, Granby's got a new coach in Larry Archie, who comes over from Norcom, and a guy that has experience at the high school and college level. They're breaking in a new quarterback in Arshad Parker, who played at running back previously for the Comets. Only bring back one starter on the offensive line, and Julius Franks, who will double on the defensive line. How quickly they gel and mature up front in the trenches and defensively will determine the success for them. Tell you what, though, game one's an interesting game for them because it's against Menchville High School out of Newport News, where they take on Rodney Taylor, who played for Larry Archie at Bowie State.
Okay, so yeah, just to talk a little bit about their schedule. Yes, Menchville is their opener, and again, we hope Granby can get on the board right away with that. But looking down the schedule, what other areas or games that may have some success at?
They have a 3-game stretch, Steve, to close out September and then open up October with Churchland, Wilson, Kempsville. If they can take 2 out of 3 or 3 of those, we could suddenly be talking about a Granby team that might thrust itself into the playoff picture as they move down from Class 6 to Class 5. So I think good times are ahead for the Comets. They may not be a big-time factor this year, but I think Larry Archie will build them and get them in the right direction.
Yeah, I think Larry's going to do a nice job over the long run here. So, all right, let's go to Norview High School. Delton Cotton is back.
Yeah.
So he's had a lot of success whenever he has coached. So how about the Pilots?
Yeah, Delton Cotton's taken them to the state semifinals before. As you know, Steve, they lost to Highland Springs one year, but Marquise Dietz is a really talented player for them at the quarterback position. He's being recruited for the next level as a wide receiver. He's a junior with offers from Virginia Tech, William and Mary. He's a real dual-threat playmaker type for them. They've got brothers that'll catch the ball in Dalen and Donovan Everett. And then defensively, that's going to be the whole key for them, how they really improve as the year goes along, because they're going to really key in on their offense with obviously Dietz running the ball and throwing it, and then Ahmad Ashby at tailback. But to stop some of those powerhouse teams in the district, the Lake Killers and Morys. I think Norview, though, those first 2 games are really tough. If they survive those without any major injuries with Nansman River and Woodside, we could be talking about the Pilots once again as being a sleeper team in Division 5.
Okay, so again, with Delton back in the mix, leading the team, they've had a lot of positive energy during their camp. So hopefully they can carry that into the season, and that opener against Nansman should be a really good test for them.
Very pivotal.
All right, so let's move down to Booker T, our Division III school, our lone Division III school. Let's talk a little bit about the Bookers. They've had some success.
They have. DJ Alexander has had them knocking on the door from, I think, 1 win to 3 wins to 6 wins last year. They've gotten better each year under his direction. Rodney Hammond is one of the best running backs in the entire state of Virginia. Very electrifying, running the football and catching it. Oh, by the way, he doubles as a starter on defense at safety. A year ago, Coach Alexander was worried about the offensive line. They started 2 freshman offensive tackles. They got 5 starters back on offense, 3 on the line. So I think they'll be better up front. It's going to be about their defense stopping other people's running games and then stepping up to the plate in big games against Lake Taylor, Maury, Norview, Norcom. He's been very candid about we have to finish those games in the 4th quarter because we've competed for 2 or 3 quarters, but it's those last 12 minutes can we hang on and sustain to be able to take that next step as a program.
Yeah, so they've been in the playoffs, so they have some good history. They have, they're ready to compete. So we look forward to seeing the Bookers out on the field. All right, so let's go now to Maury High School. Maury Doree McCain, in his 3rd year, has done an absolutely awesome job at building that program back and getting them into the playoff picture. And then again, they went to the state semifinals last year, as you mentioned. So talk about the Commodores. They got a lot of talent.
Oh, very talented. They're arguably as talented as anybody in the area, Steve, as Coach McCain has that background of being an offensive mastermind when he was an offensive coordinator under Delton Cotton at Norview, and he's had one of the better passing games around going back to when he had E.J. Faison and DJ Mack, who's now at the University of Central Florida, most recently with Alvonte Lawton and Kevin Bam Mills. It's a question mark who will play quarterback this year. There's been some talk maybe we see Keandre Lambert, they're a standout wide receiver. Regardless, though, I don't think it's a major concern because of all the weapons they have with Lambert, Deshaun Peel, who's headed to Navy, Tyshawn Granger, and many more. Even though they lose Sheridan Jones at defensive back, who's at Clemson, they're very strong up front with Darian Varner, who's a Temple commit on the line. I think Maury has as much talent and depth as just about anybody across the board, and really it's going to be that big showdown we look for with them and Lake Taylor to decide perhaps the Eastern District, and they're going to be a real threat come playoff time, no doubt about it.
Okay, so speaking of Maury's schedule, they haven't ducked anybody either.
Oh.
Obviously, we have our district schedule, but they're at a conference schedule. They kick off against Bethel in a classic over Labor Day weekend, a doubleheader over at Darling Stadium. But they also are taking on Ocean Lakes, a Division VI school. So that's, again, he's going out to see what his team is like.
Well, and that's important, Steve, because they want to get those points for the playoff race, because you're looking at the likes of a Nansman, or you're looking at the likes of a Salem out of Virginia Beach and Woodside. They could be jockeying for that top seed in Region 5A, and you want to get as many points as you can, because perhaps if you get to the state semis again, it'd be nice to have Highland Springs come to you as I have to go to them come December.
Okay, and they're also taking on another school from Richmond, Hermitage, who is, their program is being built back up. They brought in a new coach, an experienced coach. So that's going to be another challenge for them.
Good measuring stick game because David Bedwell, who used to coach at Burr, runs physical teams. So they'll see how they stand up against a good running game.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's go to our last team, Lake Taylor High School. Not much to talk about. I mean, hey, state finals last year. Probably could have came away with that if a couple injuries didn't occur. So again, how's Coach Sawyer going to be?
Hank Sawyer's got another team that can be right there for the state championship. We've got them #1 in the state in Class 4 for this year, and I think if they survive without those injuries, because that's always been the thing, they have numbers to get through it, they're going to be right there. I mean, Malik Newton was 1 first down away from running for 2,000 yards as a sophomore. Their quarterback, Jeff Foster, is more seasoned. I think their defense is as fast and as aggressive as it's been, with Akeem Wright leading the way at linebacker, Raylan Manley on the back end. And the lines could end up being the strength of this team, as Coach Sawyer has quietly said, hey, our offensive and defensive lines are ahead of schedule at this point. So Lake Taylor, and you mentioned schedule, Steve. My goodness, their schedule's a gauntlet when you look down the line. And oh, by the way, Phoebe's right out of the gate.
Yeah, that's you're right. They haven't ducked anybody. Again, Hank wants those points to better himself to be at home for that playoff run.
No question.
But not only is that Phoebus game the big kickoff, but on September 13th they have Maury High School. They have to travel to Powhatan. So again, a big game in the district, and early game.
And I would caution Lake Taylor fans, even if you don't go 10-0 and you lose 2 or 3 games, don't be worried, because to me there's a gap this year, unlike past years with Lake Taylor and Division 4 teams. Locally speaking, I mean, Hampton, Kings Fork, some of the teams are younger, they're not as seasoned. So even if they were to slip up against Phoebus, Maury, or Verona, I'm not saying they will, I think they'll still be in good shape to get a high seed and be a real factor come playoff time.
All right, so the Virginia High School League has changed. Classifications, we still have the 6 classifications, but we've had some movement of teams. Looking at Division 5, Class 5, it's 18 schools now. So what do you think projects out for the Norfolk schools at the 5 level?
I think a very good chance for Maury to get a top 2 or 3 seed. You're looking at Northview probably in the middle to lower end of that playoff pack there in Region 5A. And then for Granby to get in, I think they're going to have to pull an upset or 2 this year. But I think they're building 2020, 2021 to be a contender under Coach Archie. But right out the gate, I think Maury's going to be, once you get past Highland Springs, who's the defending 4-time state champs, and Stonebridge, who's been a perennial contender, Maury's probably got as good a chance to make a deep run as anybody in the whole state in Class 5.
So our next class is Class 3. Again, it's just Booker T. But so what do you think about the region class? 13 teams.
Yeah, and it's gotten, I think, stronger this year, Steve, because Lafayette dropped down from Class 4 to Class 3 out of Williamsburg. You have Phoebus, you have IC Norcom, who's out of the Eastern District in Portsmouth, new coach, and Robert Jackson there. I think Booker T is going to be lurking as one of those upset potential teams, maybe a 6, 7, or 8 seed. But one of those top 2 or 3 seeds might not want to draw them because they have a player who's explosive enough in Hammond to have a big game and pull the upset.
Okay. Well, the season's here. You know, we hope our schools can advance and compete as far as they can. So we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to following you on your Twitter site, and you know, we really appreciate you taking some time to come down here.
Absolutely, Steve. It should be another exciting year. Looking forward to it.
More NPS Now after this.
Welcome back to NPS Now. We have 2 very special guests with us here today. We have Sharice Newsom, the new president for the Norfolk Council of PTAs, and their student representative, Maya Prasad, who is a Maury High School senior. Welcome to you both to NPS Now.
Thank you for having us.
So glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you both on the Norfolk Council PTA's discussion. I used to be a liaison to that group, and so you guys do great work.
Thank you.
And I used to be a PTA president, so
Awesome.
I know the hard work that's been put in with you guys.
Absolutely, thank
yeah,
you.
So for those who don't know what the Norfolk Council PTA is, kind of give us an idea what they are.
Absolutely. So the council is an overarching body that provides support and guidance to our school PTA units. We have meetings throughout the year where we provide training, where we talk about bylaws, we talk about audits and financial management of PTAs. We help recruit volunteers, and we just support the schools so they can support families as best as possible.
So who actually serves on the Norfolk Council PTA board?
So there's a board of officers. I'm the president, as you just mentioned. We have a first vice president of membership, a first vice president of training, a secretary and treasurer. That is Alexandra Nassar, Candace Gabriel, Whitney Davis, and Carter Davis.
Yeah. So
Excuse me, Carter Smith.
Carter Smith, right. I think he's at Maury. Yeah. So what type of training specifically do you provide them?
So PTAs need support in getting all of their, I guess, administrative affairs in order, and that would include bylaws, which help to govern how the PTAs operate. It helps to stipulate how many officers they should have. But then they also need help in financial management. So when there's fundraisers and you have to take care of PTA banking, we provide that type of training. We also train PTAs in recruitment. So getting members is really important because the more PTA members you have, the stronger your voice and the better your advocacy for students in schools. So we want to help them speak up for children so that schools can get the funding they need, they can get the support that they need, and as we support our PTAs, then they can better support their schools.
And you've brought a student rep into
Absolutely.
the council. Is this a first?
It is, that I'm aware of, and this is so important because PTA is really about family and community engagement, and we know that as the grown-ups and as the parents that we care about our kids and we care about schools, but students care about their experience in education too, and we believe it's important to listen to students and to capitalize and support their ideas. And so Maya has joined us and we're very excited.
So Maya, tell us about your role with the Norfolk Council PTAs.
So I am the direct link between the students, the parents, and the teachers. The parents aren't in the schools with the students, unfortunately, so I have to be there. I have to ask the questions and see how we can make Norfolk schools better.
So how do you see yourself with recruiting more students who want to come involved with the PTA?
I'm basically here to show them that it's easy. They can come talk to me about it, and I can talk to the PTA president over here about it. I also help with volunteer work because there's plenty of med students at Maury and IB students at Granby that would be more than happy to help.
Mm-hmm. And this is a great thing that you've done. You've added students. So what are you hoping to accomplish more with the student rep?
I'm hoping to hear more about students ideas as well as to use their voices to advocate. I believe that we're stronger together, and that when grown-ups go downtown to advocate or go to Richmond to advocate, that when students are with us, it speaks volumes because they're in those classrooms. So for example, when we're asking our state legislators and our local legislators to support schools with funding and everything that they need, it's really important not only to have staff and parent voices, but to have student voices expressing what they see as needs too. So I believe it just adds to the strength of our voices and our advocacy. And also they have great ideas. So one of the things we're doing this fall is a family day at a local community center. And Maya is helping to organize that event, and she's going to bring in other young people and get their ideas on what they want to do. What types of conversations do we need to have? What types of activities and events we need to have so that we can best support families and best support schools?
So there's going to be a cost for parents, but is there going to be a cost for students to join the PTA?
So there's a membership fee for anyone who joins the PTA. Most of our schools hover at around $5 for a membership. We also have membership incentive programs for those who may not be able to afford $5 or more for a membership. So students pay into that membership, but the benefits are fantastic. Not only are they joining a team of people who love schools and love to support schools, but there's also fringe benefits that you get. Certain businesses will give you discounts and for different products when you join the PTA.
Right. So this is great. It's something new for parents and students to become involved. I did something like that with Ruffner. It was great. We say $5 is a Happy Meal. You could,
right.
it's, 5 for 5, 4 for 4. So, but how do you think you're able to bring in more parental involvement? We have a lot on the elementary level, but for the secondary level, like she's in high school, how do you think, or what are you all thinking, how you're going to bring more involvement from the middle and high school parents?
Absolutely. So I believe that information is key, and as you communicate with families and tell them what's going on, then they'll become more involved. So I think telling our parents about the excellent programs in Norfolk Public Schools, whether that's with athletics or academics, and explaining to them how those processes work, when you hold parents' hands and walk them through the process, then they're going to be involved. When you welcome them into your schools and let them know that there's a safe space, a smiling face to greet them, then they're going to feel welcome, they're going to come. And so that's what the PTA hopes to do. We hope to invite more parents into the school so they become familiar with what's going on. If they learn about the special education process or the gifted education process or the academies process or the athletics process, then they're more likely to have information to make informed decisions, and they're more likely to be connected to schools. We plan to tell them about events. We have already started sharing the great information that the school division puts out through its website and social media channels. So we just help to amplify the good things that are already going on in Norfolk Public Schools, because the more parents know, the more they'll get involved.
So tell us, what activities or events do you have planned for this year, and what are some things that you may have already done over the summer?
Sure. So a couple of things. As I mentioned, in the middle of October, we're having a family day at a local community center. We're also having what's called PTA meetups, where we meet at local libraries to talk about PTA and any school topics that parents and PTA members want to talk about. I mean, we've heard everything from the changes to the school lunches this past year that families really enjoyed, to more information about the specialty programs that families want so they can sign up early and get information early. And so we're just providing a link between families and staff and the schools. We've also done PTA pop-ups. So we've gone to Shoot Park to meet parents there at the splash pad to talk about what they want for their children and how we can best advocate for them. We've heard that they're really interested in just making sure that parents feel welcomed into schools, making sure that there's activities, family-friendly activities at different times of the day for parents to come in. Some parents work at night, some parents work at the day. So those types of things, we're gathering feedback, and we're definitely going to share that with the school division.
So what type of professional development does your council receive in order to support the local PTAs?
Great question. So we received training from the Virginia PTA. So this summer we have been in multiple training sessions for the council level. So for presidents, treasurers, secretaries, and we learned how to support our PTAs. So there was a training in Newport News this summer that I and some other PTA members attended, and it was fantastic. It talked about advocacy and how we develop an agenda. It talked about financial management, which is really important in PTAs because we want to raise funds for programs and scholarships. So it helped us so we could help them.
So if parents want to be involved in the PTA, real quick, tell us, how can they learn more about it?
There are many ways to join the PTA. Talk to your school's administration if you don't know who the PTA president is, or you can contact us at norfolkpta.org. Follow us on Facebook at Norfolk Council of PTAs or on Twitter at Norfolk PTA. And we'd be happy to connect you with the school PTA leadership at that school so that you can learn more and get involved.
So if students want to learn more about the student perspective, who do they contact?
Also, norfolkpta.org will give you information, but our email address is norfolkpta@gmail.com.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to a great school year with both of you with the PTAs, and I know that the membership is going to grow after watching this segment and all the things that you all are going to be doing. So thank you both for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for
We're
having
really
us.
looking forward to the school year.
Great. And we want to thank you for watching NPS Now. It airs weekly on WNPS, Channel 47, or you can view us online at www.npsk12.com. If you have any great story ideas or events happening at your school, email us at npsnews@npsk12.com. Again, we want to thank you for watching NPS Now.